I'm going to call the City of Laredo Fine Arts and Culture Commission meeting for Thursday, November 20th, 2025 to order. We'll start off by doing the Pledge of Allegiance. And everybody's ready, I'll start. Are you ready?
Yes. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. Cool. Okay. Angie, can you do a roll call for the commission, please?
Yes, sir. Jorge Santana? Absent. Armando Lopez?
Present.
Virtual.
Virtually.
Melissa Amici? Present. Mary Province? Present. Virtual. Gail April Rodriguez?
Here.
Present. Alan Holmgreen? Present. We have a quorum.
Yeah, thank you.
Great, so let's get going. Okay, on section 4 is the minutes of the last meeting that we had where we had a quorum. So that dated September 18, 2025. If you've had a chance to review them, please, well, if you haven't had a chance, please give them a quick review. And if you have had a chance to review them, go ahead and please have a motion to approve the minutes of September 18, 2025.
I move to approve since I already read the whole thing.
Second.
Okay, moved by Gail. Is there a second?
Second.
Melissa.
Okay, good. So there's a second. Any discussion?
No, but.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The minutes for September 18th, 2025 are approved. Moving next to room number 5, which is public comments. Angie, had anybody signed up for public
Sorry,
comments?
real quick. On the meeting minutes, we just need to correct the spelling of Alan's name. So I approve the minutes with the correct spelling of Alan Holmgreen's name.
Okay. With the correction.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other corrections or additions? Okay, we'll move on to room number 5. Are there any public comments or any members of the public signed up to make comments before our mission?
No, I don't have anybody signing
I just wanted to
Okay,
invite
good.
people to our art opening. We have an art opening December 5th for Caminante at the Laredo Center for the Arts. It's
Yeah, I think that comes in communications and announcements.
Oh, okay.
Let's move on to room number 6, staff reports and updates. Can we have a status on the Fine Arts and Culture Committee appointments?
Yes, so we do have a new appointee. It's Miss Mary Province for District 4, and we would like to welcome you to the Fine Arts and Culture Commission, and we're glad to have you on board. And if you can just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Thank you so much for including me. I look forward to participating in what Laredo is going to flourish in the world of art. My name is Mary Province, and I've been here in Laredo for almost 20 years. Playing with art pretty much most of the time. That's what brought us here. I teach at Laredo College, and I plan to be here for another 20 years.
All right, well, welcome to the commission.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
So I'm in the process of, I know that Professor Jesse Shaw was very interested, and I've been in communications to try to get him set up with District 5, since that's the TAMU district as well, and he also lives within that area. So I'm working on setting that up, and we're still pending for District 2 and 7. So for that, I've been in communication, but still haven't been able.
Who are those?
For District 7,
Council.
it's Mayor Pro Tem, which is Vanessa Perez, Councilwoman Perez, and for District 2, we have Richie, Rangel. Richie, Rangel.
Have we considered reaching out to John Kilborn from the theater companies to see if he's Webb County Heritage Board member, but he's also with the, I think the Laredo Theater Guild, to see if somebody would want to have him as a representative, and then we could have the theater represented on here as well. Theater community.
So wait, what did you say he was a part of? So I can.
Webb County Heritage Foundation, he's a board member there,
Okay.
and he's also, involved in, I don't know if it's Laredo Little Theater or Laredo Theater Guild, but one of the
Okay.
theater groups.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Very little
both
theater.
John and his wife are very active in the arts here.
So yeah, I can reach out and see if I can connect them with one of the administrative assistants to put them on, setting up a meeting with that council person.
Okay. Moving on to item B, the October recap of the fiscal year 2026 annual public art plan.
Yes, so, I don't know if you guys have seen, but our annual plan was approved on October 6th. So we're excited for that, to go through. So I created all the submission forms already for the partnerships that we have, so that's part of the packet that you all have. So we have a partnership with TAMU, Laredo College, LISD and UISD. And we have a specific QR code for those contests to make sure that their submissions are not within the general public. So it's easier on the end of when they are submitting that we can filter that out. And then we have one for the general public as well. And also within your packet, you will see the templates. So we have the specific templates for each project. Another thing is, I don't know if you guys have been up to date with the information and the things about TxDOT. So for our utility cabinet project, we've been in communications with TxDOT, and they just got back to us and they told us to hold off on doing anything from that, because as of right now, they're focusing on street murals, but going forward, they said that they're gonna reconvene and discuss intersections, which is also part of that update that TxDOT has coming down from the state. So we're gonna have to wait to see. We're gonna give them a couple of months for them to have their meetings and discuss it and then proceed from there, because right now, we can't definitively move forward with the project and then them tell us that we have to go and, take them all off. We wouldn't wanna do that to the artists or anything.
I thought we were looking at the electric boxes that weren't owned by TxDOT.
So even though they're not owned by TxDOT still has state regulations for the roadways.
Okay.
So regardless of if they own it or not, we technically can't do anything if the state says, we're not able to do anything because it's a distraction in Texas. So
How do other cities do it?
other cities do have them up, but just like how other cities have street murals, they're actually gonna have to repaint them. So depending on what TxDOT says, those cities that do, within Texas, that do have the murals on those utility cabinets, they might have to be repainting them as well.
And the ones that were in parks and stuff that weren't necessarily on roadways, are those that the city owns, are those still off limits?
So for those ones, that's another reason why I'm bringing it to the table, is that I met and discussed with parks, and they said that they have them behind fences. So I don't know if you guys want to open it up for that, but if they're behind fences, it's not gonna be good public viewing because it's gonna be completely blocked.
What kind of fences?
So they have a fence up around it, the wire fences. Yeah.
Cause those can be painted black and then I'm just saying, just to push the project forward, because we have those funds
Yeah.
sitting there that, these smaller projects aren't really gonna kinda cut it when it comes to making a dent in the budget, and I know that people are looking at our budget and concerned with our rate of spending it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also saw a sidewalk go up in my neighborhood. Were you aware of that sidewalk that went up, and was there communication regarding the sidewalk stamping, just as curiosity, if that communication is working.
Well, as of right now, I haven't reached out to them because we don't have the stamps yet. So we wanna first have our contest where we get the stamps printed. I'm going to be reaching out again to the divisions and the departments just to remind them that everything got approved. And once we start getting in, the designs and having those RFQs up where we have the artists and the contractors for those stamps, it's gonna be a lot quicker process for us to go and do that stamp for that specific project. But right now, we're in stage one, or phase one, of where we're gathering all the submission forms from, the contests, whether it be with the public or the districts or, the institutions. So hopefully going forward, we'll be able to get them printed fairly quickly. So when sidewalks do go up, we'd be able to communicate with those departments. So I'm gonna be reaching out to them very soon, just to remind them and let them know, that we're here. We're still in the early stages, but we're gonna have the stamps printed soon, so when, there are any projects coming up, they can just let us know. And you can go in there and, put the stamps in for those ones. So there was, yes.
No, go ahead, and then I'll when you're finished, I'll say.
Okay, well, I was gonna move on to another section of the annual plan, so I don't know if you wanted to.
Okay, yeah, well, then before you do that, can we have the city attorney contact TxDOT to see whether they have anyone or anyone in particular, or anyone reviewing the artistic content of these to fulfill the governor's decree against art that suggests political motivation or anything like that. In other words, do they have a screening committee, a censor group, somebody like that? Is that why they're asking us not to do anything until they have somebody look at our designs?
Oh, if it's coming from that.
Yeah, I can reach out to our attorneys and I'll forward them the email that I got from TxDOT, because as of right now, they're just telling us to hold off for the foreseeable future until they discuss it. But I can reach out to them to see if they can get in contact with the exact person that they need at TxDOT to go over it.
So I think I would ask that we formulate a response that indicates whether they can send us the criteria that they're using to judge the artwork that we're submitting. I mean, it's only placement in a place where it would block the roadway, the vision of a roadway. Well, that's they should be able to send that pretty quickly. But if it's anything else, if it's part of this, mandate that there not be anything that cross their lines of acceptability for art in public areas, that we at least get to see what they're using as a barometer for that.
As far as what I read through of what they sent that was coming down from the governor, it put there anything that's considered distracting. So it didn't really narrow down specifically what is considered distracting, but from there they listed like the specific areas being crosswalks, intersections, the roadways, anything that isn't specifically giving directions to the flow of traffic was considered the distraction for like the artwork.
And can we compare that language to whatever language they submitted to the city with regards to the mural downtown on the street mural? Because I believe remembering seeing something as vague as that it was a distraction.
Yeah, I'm like, as far as what they informed me, they just said for us to just hold off for the time being, because right now the governor and TxDOT is focusing on the specific streets or the roadways. And then from there, they're gonna be branching out into the other, like the intersections, the crosswalks and all of that other stuff as well.
Well, I just think that our constituents are entitled to some specificity instead of this general notion that,
Yeah.
they're not ready yet.
Yeah, which is understandable because I did do a research into other cities, and there are other cities in Texas that specifically have these murals on
Okay.
text stop boxes. So it's interesting that those cities specifically have it on those boxes, whereas us that we're going to be focusing on city-owned boxes, but then they're telling us to hold off on it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that
It just doesn't sound logical
Mhm.
when there's other cities who already have similar projects.
Yeah, so that's where we're, for the time being, listening to what it is that they're saying. But yeah, I can reach out to the attorney and, get the specifics on.
And if you could forward us that email to each of the board members, to the commission members, and so that we can, respond to you or forward to you, maybe some suggested language on how to clarify their position.
Got it. All right.
If that's acceptable to the rest of the commission.
Absolutely.
So,
Okay.
the other thing that I wanted to talk about the annual plan is, I believe that we spoke about this, in October, but we didn't meet quorum. So in September 15th, there was a water tower project that was proposed by, council member Dr. Tyler King.
Right.
And there was a discussion that this was a previous project that was already gone through city council, and that it was given to the utilities department for them to figure out why the project didn't move forward or anything like that. And when meeting with him, this rehabilitation was already, in place to go through, but the art aspect for this project, what's it called? That they wanted our insight into it, since this is the Fine Arts and Culture Commission, which, is valuable that we have a department that's coming to us to ask specifically for our insight, because that's what we want whenever we do have projects, for these capital improvements, projects, we want for them to come to us so earlier on, as the project goes forward, they have our insight into it. So as they're building things, we'll be able to thoughtfully incorporate the art. So with this, we did our research and everything, and he brought up to me that there are certain time-sensitive things that come into place when dealing with these water tower projects. So, one of them is the weather, because we live in Laredo. There's only a certain amount of time that we can actually go in there for us to do a mural on these projects. And then they also talked about the water usage. So in combination with the weather during summer, it's the highest time that people use water, that we're not able to shut down any tower, because what happens is when you shut one down, you put the weight on all of the other water towers. And then when you turn them back on, it's gonna take a couple of months for them to repressurize, stabilize, and take, the weight off of the other towers. So within that discussion, I believe Mayor Pro Tem, Councilwoman Perez also discussed that for her water tower specifically, they already had a design selected for it. And this rehabilitation, for some reason, based off of previous directors, fell through. So with all of that, we were asked to step in and help out for that specific project. And the finance division informed us that we are able to utilize our funds for that specific project. And when you look at our master plan LAMP, it does state that there is a strong candidate for these water tower projects.
I think that the concern becomes that we had a project and a plan that was submitted and approved, and this came afterwards. And I think that if those council members want to have those projects, they have discretionary funds to move that forward, to usurp the process that we have in place. And then you're saying that it's nice that the utility is asking for our input, but they wanna use our funds, right? Or are they using their own
So our
funds?
funds are used for specifically the art, and that's what we're gonna be using
I
it
understand,
for.
but we
And-
identified 6 projects at the beginning of the year that we would work on, right? That was what
5.
was approved.
I think it's
5?
5 projects.
Okay,
yeah.
those 5 projects that we submitted a budget for, submitted a plan for, we had discussion and approved those.
Mhm.
And that's what we wanted, that's what we moved forward with. So my concern as a committee member, I'm being placed here by my councilwoman to be her eyes and ears, is that if we're gonna move this forward in a way that suggests that we support it when we haven't had a conversation about it, and what does this do? What does this open the door for? Now, how many other projects come through and don't go through the process? And the funds that are here are for the public to decide. That's why you spent so much time creating surveys and getting community input. I mean, there was a lot of work that you put into finding out what people wanted to see. And I'm not saying that I don't think that water towers should be painted, but I think that we should stick to procedures that we have in place to ensure that that is in fact what the community wants, because this is about public art and what the community wants, and that's what we're here to kind of be the voice for. So I think those are just some concerns that I have, and just as a matter of record, I would have appreciated more information when the email was sent out that you were gonna move forward and support this agenda item at the last city meeting, when we didn't even make quorum in October, and so there wasn't really a matter of record of conversation about it. And I just think we need to be really careful about what kind of precedent we set. It's wonderful that we have a program manager like you here now, but the reason that it's so important is because you help keep things on track. You help make sure that procedures are followed, because if not, then as much as we're held to a certain standard of being at the meetings or being removed, where's the other side of that? You know, where if we do our part and we're here, but then input or advice or even any feedback we may have is not being considered, then I don't, again, we've had this conversation before, what's the point in having a commission? And I just wanted to say those things as a matter of record, and just because I know I wasn't here in October, you know I was gonna be out of town. And yeah, I just would like to have information when we're gonna especially go before city council and say that we approve something, or that this is the recommendation, and there hasn't been kind of conversation about it. And I do think we need to be very cognizant about moving forward in a way that opens a door to let then any other project get in the way of what you're planning and what our artists are already prepared to look, because we met with artists, you had workshops with artists, and these are the projects that they're looking for and preparing for, and then all of a sudden this gets kind of thrown in there, so.
And, you know, I can understand that because, you know, I worked on the
Yeah.
annual plan, and the way that our discussions was about this project is that this was a previously approved project. This was something that was supposed to be done years ago, and it is, like Councilmember King said, it's a blank canvas, and what we wanna do is incorporate art within something that a lot of people can see within our city. And based off of our conversations, you know, there is a certain time limit within things, and since we're collaborating closely with this department, we can make those considerations. And it's not gonna affect the projects that we're already doing, because I'm already moving forward with those projects. For this one, what we're gonna be doing is gonna be a separate contest for artists, where we're gonna have, if approved, hopefully, we're gonna have a contest open up specifically for Laredo artists to design something for those water towers. And, you know, that we have to consider all of the other moving parts with things, which is the time sensitive aspect of it, of the weather and all of that other stuff, making sure that these things are sound. And of course, we wanna be able to complete a project that was proposed years ago. And it's not going to actually, stall anything that we're doing here with our project, or be, using, the funds or the bond funds that we have set aside for these specific projects. Since we are, like you mentioned, that we wanna be able to utilize the funds that we have sitting there from 2019, this is a good opportunity for us to collaborate with the departments and complete a project that was done years ago, or proposed years ago to
Is
complete.
this the water towers on Delmar?
There's
The
that one
ones that were painted and then they painted over them?
for,
On
not,
Delmar?
not Delmar, it's
Delmar.
between,
It was Springfield.
McPherson and Shiloh, or sorry, International and Shiloh by the United.
further up.
Yeah, because there was one by Mary Help that's in Delmar.
Behind, you
I
can
don't
see
know
it.
if
I believe that they also mentioned that one as well, that it hasn't been, that
And
they
the
didn't
other one is
complete
what?
doing that one.
On Shiloh.
Are there any painted currently?
There are several that are painted, and a lot of them do have what's it called, like the high schools and everything.
Right.
So for some of them, they were completed, but there were specifically two that are the ones that we're proposing that were not completed.
Right, so how are they funded, the ones that are painted now?
I'm not sure because our finance director is currently new, and so is the utilities director. So a lot of the people that were there, even for the design specifically, I contacted the CBB because they said that they were gonna do like an I Love Laredo sign with the emblem of the CBB, and none of them have any insight into it since, you know, a lot of the people are new.
So they already have a design selected?
They did, but at this point, we are not able to find where it is. So that's why we're gonna be opening it up for specifically artists
Because
in
this,
Laredo
yeah.
to design something where we would have a specific contest for those two water towers.
I see how you're trying to make it work, but I still go back to that the process is that there's a public survey that goes out that selects what kinds of projects we do. And we could use the same amount of funding on big projects that maybe the community wants to see. And so I'm just gonna stay there with my perspective on it,
And if you-
and just have that.
If you go back to LAMP, because all the projects that we're doing here was based off of the LAMP survey since, you know, I just started. The water tower project is within LAMP, that it was identified as a project that
Right.
people, you know, it's a highly visible place and it was selected as a project, you know, within our own master plan that says, which is part of our strategic plan, that says that it is a high impact place where people can, you know, see art. And that's something that we wanna do. We wanna be able to get public art out there, work with people, specifically artists within our community, and open up these contests and make it accessible for them.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they might not necessarily know how to paint a huge water tower and have the tools for it, but we can open up these contests specifically for artists in Laredo for them to submit a design for. So it can be someone that's, you know, paints, that does digital media, where they can submit something for these projects.
To be clear, I'm not against the public art project. I wouldn't be on this committee if I was. I'm against the way that the process is being usurped, to be clear. And even if it was in our project, in our lamps, it was not submitted for the budget as part of a project that we agreed we were gonna move forward. That's my only point with it. So I understand where you're saying that, oh, well, we can do, that it's within this or with it, but it's the process. And that's what I think we need to be careful with, because that's what happens many times in our, in this community especially. Committees are selected to help move things forward. People, committees that exist with people that are, you know, experts in their field or whatever you wanna call it.
They serve
And then
events.
somebody takes it off,
Mhm.
and we saw this happen. You know, we heard the water director talk about that. There was a plan for the water, and then that went off track, and then we're still having issues. So it's the same process, and with this being such a new, with you being in such a new position, I think it's important that we stand firm on the way that we do things, and that's all I'm gonna say. I just wanna be clear, I am not against public art by any means. I understand the value of all of it. It's the way it's
The
being,
process.
the process that I
Yeah.
think we need to be concerned and be ready when other requests come, because this opens the door for that. And that's where maybe this one project doesn't take us off course, but when you get 7 others, it will. So that's all that's what I
So,
wanted to just be on
I was-
record say.
I was supposed to present on Monday, and within that presentation, I was gonna go over our process of, you know, people in the community, council members, even, other divisions that are doing capital improvement projects for them to let us know before June. So by June, that's when I'm already starting to collect all the surveys, all the information, and then compile everything so I can come to you all in July for the annual plan. So specifically for this project, it's an amendment, but we're doing it because we're just finishing a previous project that fell off, not because, they just wanna do it and we're throwing it in there.
Well,
So-
just to be clear, I've been on this
I-
commission for 3 years and there was never a conversation about the water towers being painted when I was here.
And that's why we wanna work with utilities for them to actually include us, and that's what they're doing. So that's something why, you guys should have been notified from the very
Yeah,
beginning
if it
about
was
these
truly,
projects.
if it was truly
Yeah.
a project of the art commission,
Yeah.
then we would have been involved from the get-go,
So
but now
that's
it's
why-
like, oh, now they want to use the funds, or what is the deal? That's my perspective on it.
Yeah, and I completely understand, I did the plan, and then this was, kind of thrown at me, and then with everything, just like with the utility cabinets, and us discovering all of this other stuff, we have to adjust with things, and I understand that we don't wanna set precedent for things, but I also want to show other divisions and departments that we're here to do art. And we wanna finish this project that was done, postponed years ago, where you all should have been included. And you know what, now we are being included in the conversation, and we wanna set that precedent going forward whenever there is a capital improvement project that we are brought in, and that our
Well,
insight is valued.
Isn't that part of our job? I think it's like written into our job.
Yes. Yeah, so part of also doing with that is we're starting to show that, we're completing projects that were dropped off previously by, we don't know what, but, we're gonna hopefully move forward with it and be able to have 2 monuments, landmarks that we have here in Laredo completed while we're doing our annual plan as well. Since we're working with utilities, they are gonna be helping us a lot with the RFQs and RFPs, which is something that our division, specifically since I just got here, hasn't done before.
Are we gonna have local artists who are gonna be able to benefit from being paid for painting those towers? Or they only get the benefit of a design? Because that was
So
another thing that was important to us.
We do have to see, because this is a structure that, it has to be sound, it has to be functional. So that is where, when we are opening up the RFQs, I'm gonna be meeting with the utilities department to see all the information there that is needed. Because there's also a lot of safety aspects for it, since it is a very high tower.
But the tower on Delmar was painted by the artists.
It's
And the
just all
city
sound
decided,
effective.
all of a sudden, one year they didn't like it and repainted over it, which is pretty bad.
Can I help jump in really quickly? So the item on Monday was actually tabled by council, so if it moves forward, it has to be revisited. But the other, and I would actually, request, talking to management and the utilities director, because even the cost that is being requested for the towers is half of what it costs
Actually,
because council had previously approved maintenance repairs for these towers, and so this is, it sounds like this is where some of this is coming from, but there should only be a very small percentage of the arts funds that would end up getting used for that. And again, it sounds like this is a council member-led initiative, which in my perspective should come from discretionary funds, because it sounds like there was already a plan and a design that certain council members wanted for their water towers. So I would debate that should be a discretion, those should come from discretionary funds. But again, this item was tabled at council, and it sounds like none of the directors even understand where the initial project fell through and where to bring it back. So that's where I would recommend
well, and
starting,
I mean,
going back to.
I don't think they get to decide what art goes up there. I mean, I'm
Since
gonna-
if it's over a certain amount, we do have to take it back to council if it's over $100,000, and I'm gonna be talking, before we even open up the RFQ to discuss the costs of it, because we're gonna be putting, if it goes through, we're gonna be putting it out for bid,
Well, yeah.
for, and then from there,
For artists to submit artwork, no? Isn't it gonna be open to the public?
so there's gonna be the design contest where they're actually submitting the design where we're paying them for it. But then there's also the actual painting. So whenever they're going and doing something on city property, they have to go through the RFQ process where, you know, we vet them that they have the qualifications to do that specific project. So,
But isn't that what we do here?
so
I
if
mean-
if it's over a certain amount, we have to do the formal RFQ process where it's reviewed by city employees, and that's because if it's over, they change it to $100,000 for the project, then it has to be city employees to vet the people painting it. So if
Oh,
there's specific,
I'm not really talking about that.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
talking
something
about who gets to decide, cause she mentioned that there was some input
oh,
about
the design.
what they want to see in their district. I'm sorry, but aren't we here to send out artists, you know,
When it comes to the
submit a
contest,
design for
yeah,
this?
for the contest, we're gonna have it open to any artist that can submit it. Since we're not doing the formal RFQ, that they're not painting on it, then that's where we have our evaluation committee panel selected for them to review it. So that, if we're going that
Wait,
route, which we are,
who are those people?
well, that's gonna be one of the items we talk about under the communications and announcements, so I don't
Okay.
know if we,
So more to come in this meeting?
yes, there's a lot of information.
Well, but
So,
But man, I'm sorry, I apologize for interrupting, but the item was tabled.
yeah, so, it basically goes back to council, and it's up to them whether or not they want to continue the discussion, to move forward with it. So that's basically the update on that specific, project. I know that we did discuss it for those that were here the previous meeting, but it's just to, you know, continue the conversation and inform you all of, you know, our ordinance, LAMP, the surveys, all this stuff of why this project was moving forward and that this is a collaboration with another department. Regarding the maintenance, cause I know that you mentioned it, I'll be discussing it with, Dr. Tarek, because the funds that we're using is only for the art. If there's anything extra, it's completely staying in the public art fund. It's not gonna be going to maintenance or anything like that. When I had conversations with him, he stressed that it was only going to art. Now, we also put a contingency amount, on top of what we proposed to council. So let's say that they say that it's gonna be $100,000, we, that contingency that we can put is 24.99%. So we propose $124,099 to make sure in case there are contingencies. So we did the same thing with all of the other projects as well, in case something happens, there's extra funds there for the artists, for the contingency fund. So we did that as well for these water tower projects, and when we are doing the RFQ, we're gonna be making sure that it's written within there that the funds are only for the mural. It's not gonna be for any other maintenance or anything else for the water tower.
We're just back to step one.
Okay.
This
Okay,
is what we have been going through for years. That's why we're supposedly getting organized now. I mean, you know, and if you want something done in your district, you have discretionary funds. But, I don't know. I feel like, you know, why are we here? It's the
to
same
do
thing.
public art.
It's the same,
I-
what, but if that's why we're here, then it should come through us. No?
Well, so this is like I mentioned, this is a project that was previously, you know, proposed and
When?
approved.
Yeah, that's
Because I've been on this group since the very beginning. When was it proposed? And by whom and what? Because I don't remember this.
Well, it can be because they didn't come to you all, which is something why.
Which is the whole point of the discussion.
So that's why,
Yeah.
when they are coming to us, we
Well-
wanna be part of the conversation where they're gonna be incorporating the art within, these water tower projects. Or within any
No,
project.
I agree with that, but it's sort of like, we decided this a long time ago and it fell through, and we didn't come to you because we didn't think you were important enough, or we didn't care if you agreed with this or not. And so now here we are, and it's supposed to be what we do, and it was a previous thing, and I doubt that was the person who proposed it, or wants it, the council person. He wasn't on the council, I doubt, at the time, but somebody proposed it. But I don't remember it coming through this group when we were supposed to have something to say about all that stuff. But I'm just saying, this is like, okay, sure we want public art, sure we do. But do we have a say? I mean, do we have a say? Isn't that what we're here for? And I mean, somebody didn't like a mural back in the day, and so they used their discretionary funds to paint a mural, have a mural painted. Well, great, that's available. They have money. I don't know what to say. I'm not saying that they shouldn't come to us. I think that's why we're here. But, like, we're on track with doing all this stuff, and where's the money coming from? Is it something from a previous year, or is it something set aside? Was it set aside for
So
that?
we do have funds within the public art fund that came from utilities. So part of, the capital improvement projects, there is a portion for utilities for all above ground structures. So we do have funds within the public art fund specifically for above ground structures like this one.
Right, we're supposed to be able to propose art for those
And
kind of
it's
capital
yeah.
improvement that's under a bond, all the,
Yeah, and we already verified through bond council that there are funds from utilities for this specific project, confirmed with finance as well. So, the funds are there from the 2% from a utility bond from above ground structures, based off of the bond council and what they informed me, which are lawyers, so.
Can I correct, it's within the ordinance, but it's not within, it's not coming from utility bonds. Yes, the ordinance allows for art on utilities, but this is when we first introduced the
Yes.
item
exactly,
at council
Yeah.
6 years ago.
yes.
And council specifically took out utility bonds from 2% of utility bonds for art projects. So yes, correct, it's in the ordinance, but there's not funding from, the 2% doesn't come from utility bonds. It's purely the capital improvement projects from my understanding of the conversation at the time.
That was what was passed, that was what it was, exactly.
So what they mentioned to us was that those are for below ground structures, that weren't included. And based off of the state and the federal tax law that bond council sent to us, that it is included within there.
Why can't we just put forth a survey to the public to see what big public art projects they want? If the water towers have waited this long, why can't they wait until June to go through the proper process and see? I mean, what's another 6 months if they've already waited this long? And why can't we just look to see if that's what the public wanna see big money spent on, if we're gonna do a big project? Because right now I'm only hearing that there's 2 people that want that project to happen, and these funds are for the community. It's what the public wants to see also.
Well, like I mentioned, a lot of the stuff that we're put forward even within our project is based off of the master plan, the surveys that we have within there. So us doing this is part of what we have within our strategic plan and our executive summary of, doing this project.
Why are you so committed to doing this project? Like, why this one in particular? Why does this appeal to you so much?
Well, we're completing a project that was proposed years ago, and it is, as they mentioned, a blank canvas for us to incorporate art, and that's what we want to do here.
There's lots
Well,
of
why
blank
wasn't it
canvases.
done?
Yeah, right, there's lots
My
of blank
question is, why
canvases.
wasn't it completed? If it's so important, why wasn't it not accomplished already?
Well, that's what I tried to find out. I mean, like I mentioned, I wasn't really able to because there's a lot of new people that are here. So,
But it's
But do any of the new people want it to happen? How many new people want it to happen? I don't wanna be an idiot, but I'm just new to this.
No.
Question,
That's why we're
how
here.
much is the fund? I don't know much about all this, so how much is in the fund?
the Public Art Fund,
Yeah,
there's, I think, over $2 million that we have in there.
2 million. Okay, how much does a water tower cost to paint?
I believe they said it was gonna be $100,000.
Each one. How many are there
Two.
total in the city?
No,
No.
these are the two that are
The
being
two that
requested.
did, that weren't completed for the
And
rehabilitation.
the other ones
project.
are still completed?
The other ones are completed.
But they didn't use public art funds to paint them. Did they?
I can't speak to.
Well, see, I think
previous
that's, I mean, and when you
hours.
say that they're blank canvases, there's lots of blank canvases in town. And I think it's just,
They didn't use public art funds.
so that's what I think we need to find out. To see
How
what
much
they-
are our other
No, they
projects
didn't.
worth? The other ones that we're doing, how much are we paying? All of them together, cumulatively?
The total amount, I
Yeah.
have to pull up our annual.
How much of the fund are we gonna consume this year?
Not even much, I think the other thing that becomes concerning is we want
The
the local
2%,
artists.
and she can explain the
I just wanna
2%.
know.
It's because we were here from the very beginning when you got 2% allotted, but Alyssa can explain it, cause you
Well,
probably
item-
don't know, okay?
Well,
We were here
Even
from
if-
the beginning,
the item got tabled, so.
right,
you know,
anyway, but it's
we
good
don't
that
even-
we're talking about it. But maybe we should just go over how we went about getting 2% and what that means and what's happening with that.
Yes, so we advocated for 2% of capital improvement projects for a public arts program.
Right.
We went through a process for a public arts master plan, and yes, of course, within there, it talks about how some of there can be part of this fund, it's all infrastructure projects, and and that yes, it makes recommendations about how it can be used for different, like for water towers, but there's also installations and sculptures
Right.
and much bigger projects that can really drive economic development to the city, but it's all within following a plan and an annual plan and a procedure. And from my perspective, this entire conversation is coming from specific members on council who have discretionary funding that can be used for these projects.
And so that would,
And this entire program is meant to be independent from, council sets policy
right,
and the administration.
and that's why this
runs
was
the
formed.
program.
That's why this was formed. And so the whole idea was that they had to set aside 2% bonded construction and above ground, et cetera, and we would be the group that decides and sends out, call for artists, et cetera, and decides what happens with that money. And on what building, on what project, whatever. And it's not just willy-nilly, oh, I want this done, or I want that done. It's not like that. It's not supposed to be like that. So, yeah. My two.
I know we've gone on for about a half an hour on this.
I know.
And I think that some of the concerns of the folks regarding orientation about the process can be covered by section B of Roman numeral 7, which is a workshop for Fine Arts and Culture Commission members, where we can maybe have staff prepare a summary of the evolution of the fund and the process. And that way we do it in a workshop where we're not
I agree.
in a public meeting and people can just ask and ask and ask. We can go round and round on it as much as we want.
Right.
But I would suggest that if there's anything else on the October recap, is there anything else that needs to be covered? And that's in Roman numeral 6B?
No.
Okay, good. Then let's move on to Roman numeral 7, which is communication and announcements. And the first one is the evaluation selection panel, submission forms and recommendations.
As mentioned by Gail, that you want to know about the evaluators for these contests. So we discussed, and LAMP also mentions that you want to have representatives from the specific department that it's housed, the district as well, the representatives from the FACC for that specific district, people that live in that district, and with these specific contests, we want to ask either administration or someone within the arts to also sit on that evaluation panel as well. So with that, I'm looking to create a submission form that's sent specifically to commission members and to the schools. So what happens is that person just fills it out, and from there we can see their qualifications and then set up that evaluation selection panel for the contest coming up. And for that, it's only gonna be sent to you all and then the administrators for TAMU, LC, UISD, and LISD, for us to get a well-rounded, group of people. And then for you all, if you have anyone that has insight or that you find that you can recommend as well from the specific district, either that you live in or lives in another district that can speak to the arts, like the people that you all mentioned that do have, a lot of insight into the arts. Those are people that we want to have serving on this evaluation panel. So I'm going to be creating that submission form and sending it to you all and then the institution and the districts so we can start getting our panelists. Because right now we're on phase 1 of the annual plan. So phase 2 goes into the evaluation process of it. So we're already getting started for that phase, even though we still have the submission forms open for the contests. So right now I'm just gonna be creating them and then submitting them to you all. And with that, I know for the previous meeting that Ms. Mary Province brought up volunteers for these specific projects, which part of our job here is to help artists learn. A lot of them are very good at, doing digital designs, but they haven't necessarily done, actual murals. So we want to set up something where they can be like mentees for the artists that actually submit the RFQs and are qualified for them to be painting on it. But since we work for the library, I'm gonna be contacting our volunteer coordinator, I think, where they might have to be doing a background check because we are within the library department where there are kids and everything like that. So that might have to be something that we do. But I spoke with TAMU and LC, and their student life departments are willing to offer their students the volunteer hours for them to come and help out. So that is something that we can also offer students, whether they're art students or people that are just interested in it. So that's going to be another submission form that I will have set up for volunteers, and then I'm gathering the information specifically about if they need to have the background check, and then all of the other information that needs to be taken into account for that specifically.
Okay, thank you on your work with that. Is there anything else that we need to discuss with regards to the evaluation selection panel session, submission forms, or will those be presented? Can they be presented to us at the workshop that we have?
Yes, they will.
Okay, good. All right, then moving on to Roman numeral 7B, a proposed workshop for fine arts, culture, and committee members. I'll open it up for discussion.
So we do have some new members, and whether you just want to learn and review or discuss, things that were mentioned in this meeting, where I've gone through our ordinance, our master plan, the roles and responsibilities for commission members. There's also other ordinances about attendance and everything that might be coming down as well about the requirements to serve on the committee, commission, or boards. So those are all of the information that we would be presenting to the commission members, and I wanted to know, are there times, dates, specific, times that you'd have availability so I can start scheduling the room and anything that, that needs to be brought up for us to be able to have this workshop.
I suggest that we set aside an afternoon or a morning, so that we have, 3 or 4 hours to do that, and maybe we break together to do that. I'll defer to the committee on whether it's on the weekend or on a weekday. I know that everybody works, and so it may be more feasible to do it on a weekend at the library.
I personally, I would prefer, evenings or a weekend because of scheduling, work scheduling.
Okay.
I would rather have.
I prefer a weekend because evenings I think we're kind of wiped out the day.
Yeah, I think a weekend.
So like a Saturday afternoon, maybe from 1 to 4 or something like that.
You, Melissa?
It's just hard on the weekends because I'm not always in town, so that's kind of hard.
I'm having deja vu.
And I just also want to make sure that the workshop is really not just the same thing that we always get if you miss 2 meetings, but that there's going to be something kind of more productive coming out of it. Then I'm willing to, give my time. But if it's just going to be another overview or the one that we just check off a box that we went through the workshop, then I'll definitely give my time.
In fairness, I think that that because of it would be the first one we've had under our new leadership, number one. Number two, I've witnessed, how a lot of information has been gathered, and I kind of, envision us having a notebook at the end of the beginning and at the end of, I guess, and hopefully at the end of it, that we can carry around that takes us right to how much is our budget, what is the process, because we keep on asking the same questions at our meetings and going over the history. And so I think a concise, workshop, board, book would do that. Would accomplish it, and it would be something to hand off to any of the members that are appointed after this meeting, so that when they come in, they get the freshest thing possible, and there's no more not confusion, but there's no more questions about how did this go down.
What do we do?
So,
I see a lot of value in something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of value.
Very good.
Okay, so will you send an email and survey us onto the best Saturday available, or Sunday? I guess it can be anything else, but I think that's the most productive. I know that I now have an 8 to 5 job, and on a weekday would be very difficult. So.
Yeah, I can, pull together to see what would be the best times and days, and for those who can't attend, I don't mind doing 2 separate ones, because this information is important, and it's informing everyone about, the process, and then also having the discussions that need to be, had. So I don't mind doing more than one.
Okay, good. All right, moving on. Is there anything else?
No.
Okay, so Roman numeral 8 is meeting or communication with appointing officials. Maybe that would be an appropriate time to invite the council members or persons who haven't appointed anybody to our workshop, so that you can tell them, look, here's what I'm telling our current appointees as to what they've got to do, but they can't do it without, they can't reach full potential of representation for the city if the three of you or whoever they are haven't appointed members to the commission. I get a feeling sometimes that, we're not high on the priority, and this would be something where we're not doing it in front of the whole world. It's not, on television or anything like that, but they could just come in at the very beginning and say, look, what do we need from you today? We want to thank you from everything that we're going to do today, but from you we need a commitment to appoint somebody to this commission so that we can move on.
We're only missing 2 people? No,
Three.
3.
3, yeah, so the invitation is very specific, and, if I got an invitation like that, because I've already been, told, hey, if you miss one more meeting, this happens to you, well, I think we need to kind of put some heat the other way, because, they're telling us what we need to do, but they haven't done what they, and I would not be that aggressive, but, the reason you got an invitation is because we're still missing the voice of your section of Laredo in this committee. So once we decide on that, let's invite them. They don't have to be there the whole workshop, they can join us if they like. But at least that they would, we would have taken some kind of action that we can then later say, hey, we appointed you, we have asked you to come to our workshop, and the appointees have been made and we thank you, or appointments have not been made and we're here again asking.
And part of this is, moving forward, we want for the council members to understand our process and communicate with them the projects, where we're at, get excited for what it is that we're doing. Our projects are, set across the whole city. We want them to be aware of the progress that we're making, especially since this is the first annual plan and the impacts that we're having within the community. So on top of that, also for them to be aware that, we are doing these surveys, we are collecting information, so if they have any ideas that they feel comfortable, coming to their appointee to discuss, these projects. So when we are doing our annual plan, we're getting information not only from the community, but also the council member as well, and then of course your expertise too, because you all live in the city and have your ear to the ground within the arts community. So having, whether it's just an email or a conversation or discussing something with your council person, we think is gonna strengthen our commission, because it's us letting them know before the annual plan is even presented, these are the projects, or this is the surveys, this is the information. You could inform them about like the workshops that we had over 180 artists attend. There is a lot of good things that the commission is doing,
Right.
and
Maybe
you
they
want
don't know
to,
about it, right.
yeah, and having, that communication with that council, with your council person, will hopefully get them to talk to the other council people who don't have anyone assigned for their seats, and let them know, hey, look at all the stuff that they're doing within, representing my district, and hopefully get them to want to appoint someone or assign someone to the open seat. And
the other thing is that we can also tell them, look, we're your liaison to the arts community, and if you want to get a message to them through your representative on the Fine Arts Commission, well, we need to hear from you, we need to see you, and you need to be able to, understand who we are, and when we meet, so that we can, invite those persons who have questions about the process, what we do, what the plan is, and so forth, to our meetings, and we can hear from them in the public comment section.
And so starting December, like I mentioned earlier on, like a couple of months ago, I believe, that I'm going to be sending you all in December our calendar for the upcoming year, so you can already know the dates and everything. So like before we have our meeting, that you can have that conversation, or after our meeting, you can have the conversation with your council person. So for the upcoming meeting, you can let us know what you discussed, if there was anything, any project ideas that they have that we can be considering earlier on, getting through all the logistics and everything that we need to do. So for the upcoming annual plan, we already have, you know, the information from your council person already.
All right. And we're not having a meeting, commission meeting in December, is that correct?
Yes, we are.
Oh, we are, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't see anything on the agenda about setting the next one, but they're already set, right, because we've already voted on them.
Yes, so with our trainings that we had on commission boards and committees, we were informed that we have to have them set for the whole calendar year. So in
Okay.
December, I'm gonna give you all the dates for the meetings for the upcoming year.
Okay, good. All right, well then with that said, then send us an email informing us about the workshop so that we can get back to you quickly and hopefully we can set something up. All right, and I think that's the last item on the agenda is the motion to adjourn. Do I hear, is there any other somebody wanted to make a presentation during communications and announcements about what you like to, is that correct?
About the Laredo Center for the Arts, our art opening.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Alyssa
Yes.
Cigarro was here. Was she gonna make a
No, she
presentation
was-
about? Okay.
On December 5th, we have an art opening as part of Caminantes. Artist Sarah Fox will be presenting her show, The Woman Under the Water and Other Stories. And then on Saturday, December 6th, she will have her artist talk from 2 to 3 p.m. And then from 3 to 6 p.m., we have a workshop. And if anybody's interested in signing up for that workshop, they can call Laredo Center for the Arts at 956-710-2084 and find out how to register there. We have limited seats, so hopefully we'll see you guys there. And I know the Cultural District, we will be also having Luminarte again, where we line the streets with luminarias. It was really beautiful, and there'll be a band playing. The band from Laredo will be playing in the plaza, Christmas carols and all that. So it'll be a really beautiful Caminante. So hopefully people will come. Thank you.
All right. With that said, is there any other announcements?
No.
If there are none, then, I'm sorry, is there someone else who wants to make
No, I
an
said no,
announcement?
no more announcements.
Okay, then moving on with item number 9. And that's I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.